Hi, and welcome back to Around the Block with GoodBlock. This is Leah, and I'm here with Douglas and Nathaniel today, and we are going to speak about Telos Spark Hackathon winners Eduardo and Alberto from Sons of a Bit. Their app Kluest is Pokemon Go meets the creator economy. Sounds pretty exciting, right, guys? Our team got to meet them in person at Consensus this year, and we were blown away by how far along their app is. Before we dive in, though, remember to like this video, subscribe, turn on notifications so that you'll be notified whenever we drop more content like this. That being said, without further ado, let's bring in our guests, Alberto and Eduardo from the Sons of a Bit team.
Hi there.
Hi.
Very glad to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Hey guys, great to have you here. I've been so excited to talk about your game and your company and everything. And people may remember that you were the winners of the Telos Hackathon, and we saw you at Consensus, and you were showing off Kluest there. What happens since then? Where are you guys? I think we're just really excited to learn more. So maybe tell us about Sons of a Bit and your roles there.
Sure. Well, we have been working around the clock these months, and we are working on the new versions. We hopefully want to reach 1.0 version by the end of the year. And we have to make some changes, for example, in our backend to make change the technology to make it more secure, to improve scalability, and even to make it more versatile for our content creators. So this has slowed down us a little bit, but it's something that is going to make things to work more stable, faster, and in a secure way. And of course, making improvements and adding new features in the client side, and new content as well, like the person atmosphere. So we are preparing a series of updates that are going to start hopefully next week, and these updates will lead us to reach that version, that 1.0 version, that will be the basis, the cornerstone around we'll build anything else.
And you guys, and what do each of you do at the company? I mean, you guys are brothers. You are apparently, one of your parents was a bit, right? Because you are their sons.
That's it.
We are all sons.
Yeah, that's the idea. We wanted to highlight somehow that we are brothers and that we love video games, because this is how everything started, with the idea of creating a video game, a game that we would like to play. And so we decided to first gain experience and get funds, because both things are important if you want to run a business. And that's what we did. I mean, we started to create games for third parties, and then once we have the money, once we have the knowledge, we decided to develop our own projects. And the current project we have right now is Kluest, and which is the one you've been talking about. We're very excited because we've been improving the platform for the last 1 year and a half, 2 years. And right now we are at a point in which we can create more content. I mean, we've been with the same 2 enemies for 2 years. And now the development version, we have 5 new enemies, a lot of clothes, weapons, objects. It's crazy. I mean, we can't wait to share the version we have in development with the people, because we think they're going to get crazy, because we have not double, but multiply 3 times the content people have in the current version that they can test. So in the next few weeks, we're going to share a new version with new enemies and a new atmosphere, which is the present atmosphere. Right now, people can play with the medieval atmosphere with magicians and knights, kings, queens, the typical medieval atmosphere. But we want people to be able to identify themselves with their avatars. So I think it's going to be easier to do that if they can wear, like, let's say, ordinary clothes, not so fantastic clothes. And also, we are working on the stylist. The stylist is going to bring a lot of content, like new skin color and new hairstyles, new ears. So you can create something like Navi from Avatar or Orcs or whatever you may think, or Simpsons. Why not? So it's going to open a brand universe of possibilities, and we
Yeah.
want to be there and to share that with the public very, very soon.
So for those who aren't familiar yet with Kluest, and hopefully we've been showing graphics from the game within this over our talking. But if you're not familiar with Kluest already, it's a metaverse game, right, where you can create your own avatar within different worlds or realms. Right now it's medieval, future, and now you're adding present day. And there's different kinds of monsters to fight and tasks, and you can style the styling you were talking about. You can style. There's a basically an avatar creator, right, with massive amounts of controls that people can create their avatar, probably for free, or I don't know if they'll be if you're going to have more skins that you can import or things like that, but a lot of opportunities there, right? And people can walk around, or they can play from their home in a sort of a virtual walk around mode, and in a real world system, similar to Pokemon Go, but with user generated content and user generated quests. Is that pretty much capture what Cluist is?
It's a
Yeah, it's
great,
a very
great
good definition. Yeah.
that last part of the user generated content is probably one of the main ingredients of the cocktail of the of the receipt, because we want to allow people to express themselves creatively without having any technical knowledge or even artistic skills, so they can tell their stories, they can create their own games, their own treasure hunts, their own, and even art galleries and all this stuff. So it's a very fine description, a super Pokemon Go where everything you see is created by other users.
So great.
So cool.
We should disclose that we are involved. After I was a judge, and then after being a judge, completely separate, I decided to invest because I thought this was a huge winner, and I thought my investing would be really helpful for advancing this coming into Telos, get it out there faster, get it to the USA faster, which I thought was important. So I have that is my involvement. I'm an advisor and an investor. Nathaniel has been working with you as a beta tester, because he's actually sort of to those who don't know, he's a subject matter expert in Pokemon Go and running servers and things like that. And but Leah is here. Leah hasn't had it. She spoke with you guys at Consensus, and we wanted her here to ask the questions that like nerds like me and Nathaniel aren't going to ask. Like, what is it? How does it work? How do I play? Things like that. So Leah, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, I first of all, I'd say I think it's so cool what I've seen. When we were in Austin all together, it was so much fun watching Douglas battle monsters walking down the street, even though it made us take like much longer to get to our dinner because he had to stop every few steps and battle.
It's great.
But I do have some questions. So Douglas mentioned it's similar to Pokemon Go, which I never played, but I am familiar with. So my question is, I know in Pokemon Go there was talk of, for a while there, people were spoofing locations. Is that something that's a problem for Kluist, or not really, because you can play from your couch or walking around? Or how do you guys solve that location issue and ensuring that no one's quote unquote cheating?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good question. So we have like two different, let's say, sections or part in Kluest. The first one is the general map, in which you can walk wherever you want to go, and you're going to find content which is randomly created. So I mean, you can decide to walk whatever time you want to do it, whatever you want to go. And the other one is the quests, which are called adventures. In those adventures, there are two types. The first one is, let's say, the normal type, in which you create an experience which is located in a specific location. So you have to go there. Another one is the global adventures, which take place in the whole world, which means that you don't need to be in the place where that adventure were created, but you can play at home. Even we have a mode which is stay at home mode, in which you can be, sitting on your couch playing Kluest without having to go to your street or to your neighborhood. You can play from your home. And also, we're going to develop in the near future. We're going to develop the astral trip, which is a way to travel to anywhere in the world from home during a limited time. So, if you want to make more astral trip like those, you can have the subscription, which is Kluest Plus, which is something that is going to bring you many different rewards, not only more time or endless time to do those astral trip, but also better rewards once you complete an adventure, or even more rewards if you're a good creator. So the idea is that you don't have to go to the street, or to walk at night alone to get some rewards, but you can also do it from home if you want to do it. So you have the best of both worlds. So if you don't want to move, you can enjoy as well. Also, you can create from home, which is very, very fun. And I think it's going to be very rewarding, because we are working to make that creators can feel that they are improving and they are gaining traction with their experiences and rewards for that. And also, if you're a player and you don't want to create, you can play, as I have said, from home, or you can go with someone else to the street and to live the experience, the Pokemon Go type experience.
So you solve that problem by just saying, hey, that's just a different mode of play. And by making a different mode of play, you incorporate people who wouldn't necessarily be able to play a physically based game because where they live might not be might not be safe at all times when they have to, it might be the middle of the night when they get to go around to places, or they may have, people have issues with getting around. So it's not like it's as great as Pokemon Go was for getting people out, and what a cool experience that is to get outside. It leaves some people out that you guys are now bringing back and including back in the game. So I think
Absolutely.
that's awesome.
Yeah, very true.
Exactly.
Cool.
That's it. And there are another design decisions that we have learned a lot of Pokemon Go. For example, they aware people with messages that don't enter to private properties and all this stuff in the terms and conditions. And we have read carefully and to trying to learn a lot of it too.
Yeah, you can play in thunderstorms, right, without getting electrocuted. That's a great feature.
For example.
Like I remember when Pokemon Go first hit and people were everywhere. Like you would see them out, and you're going, oh, they're playing Pokemon Go, mainly because it was children and teenagers walking outside, so you knew. There's no reason they'd be walking
motion here all the time. Just this little motion.
So,
It's
Super
true. The finger.
yeah. So the part that also, this is just coming purely from someone. I'm a mom of two. I don't play as many video games as I did in my youth. What are your users, since you have a user base already, it sounds like, in Spain, what drives them to play this game? Like, what is the attraction? Is it that you can go outside, or that's, neither here or there? Is it that they can make money from creating their own world. Like, what part of it is making them say, this is the game I want to play? What
Yeah.
aspects of it, I guess, are the standouts that people like?
Very, very, very good question, and it's something that we have been developing and in the concept, in the game concept itself, because we have learned about our users. For example, we have seen that a lot of creators are in a age range of 35 and 45 years. That was a surprise for all people. There are writers, there are people that like the role-playing games and real role-playing games, and on the other hand, we have players that want. It's something like in Roblox, and I think in a user-generated content platform, not only in games,
Yeah.
it's very important to have variety, to have quality, and to have quantity even of content. Imagine a YouTube where you only have 10 videos, very good videos, but only 10, or you don't have variety. In Roblox right now, there are 40 million experiences or games created by non-professional users, but overall for professional users, because you have to code. It's
Well,
more.
many of them are professional level
Hmm.
contributors, but they're not professional simply because they're not paid, right? So there's no.
Yeah,
So I've been, like, 3 years ago, I wrote something called the D Realms white paper, and which would now be considered an early metaverse project that leans very heavily on user generated content. So one of the reasons I was so excited about what you came out with is I think user generated content is one of the most powerful forces in software today, and it fits in perfectly with Web3. It fits in better with Web3, frankly,
that's
because
Yeah.
Web2 model, you've got, like, Bethesda Software has tons of people doing amazing mods for the Elder Scrolls or whatever, and yet they can't be paid for them. But the only reason they can't be paid for them is that the system isn't set up for them to be paid. So your users, the exact same people, would likely come to Kluest to have more ways to do what they love about participating in game making and authoring, but actually get paid to do it, right? I mean, I think the good ones are going to get hired, right? Because companies will use these things to create trails that are fun and engaging, but ultimately end up at their pizza place or store or whatever, right?
that's it.
Exactly. Hmm.
That's it. It's something that you can use as a tool that you can use not only for gaming or for in entertainment, but for other use cases. For example, there are educational adventures. There are and adventures that are based on tourism. So
Yeah.
you can walk in the streets of your city, knowing the most important characters, so as historic characters of the city and places in a gamified way. So it's a tool that can be used for a lot of things. Like I said, in Roblox you can find, if you like platform games, you have million of platformers. If you like shooting games, you have million of shooting games. And if you like Marvel, if you like Stranger Things, you can find anything you want, like in YouTube. So there is something that we have been talking to our lawyers that have this intellectual property that in Roblox are being used without any problem, and well, it's something that we don't know how they are doing this, because they are using a lot of copyrighted material without any kind of permission. So I think there is something that our lawyers don't understand. So we would love to understand it to
Yeah.
be able to do something like that.
Well, let Roblox use their legal budget to to blaze that trail.
Yeah.
Then you guys follow it. Let's not spend all your money on that. But so it's so exciting to me because, of course, we think about this as a game that you go around places and encounter monsters and encounter other characters and then go from place to place, right? And its most basic form, it is that, right? But by including user generated content, which I think is I think this Kluest is the first ever to do this in this model. You don't have to, a quest can be anything. A quest can be, like you said, a self-guided tour that has all these experts standing. I could go to the Arboretum and somebody could tell me everything about what this tree is. Like I wouldn't have to look for a guide. I could learn as much as I wanted. It's that educational experience. It could set me off on a quest to find, the other three trees of the same species in the Arboretum. Like there's, cool. I mean, it's absolutely endless, and it can be used for education. It can be used, like you said, for tourism. These self-guided tours, the Ghosts of New York. Like, let's do it, right? All these, like everything you can think of could be a new and awesome quest. That somebody's going to be excited about and create on Kluest, right? Because somebody's passionate about the Ghosts of New York, and they're going to do the tour, and there's some donation or optional fee or whatever to get the premium part of the content. There's a way for people to like share their passion and get paid to do it.
That really crystallizes it for me, Douglas, because one of my questions was going to be like, I'm assuming this is a starting point. Where does this lead? And you've preemptively answered that. It really leads to anything. Your imagination, not just our imaginations, the world's imagination. People in the world is the limit. So thank you for saying that. Now I fully think I understand the value proposition.
Well, I'm glad, and I think it just is going to keep growing. Those are total top of mind ideas, but you can see how those kind of roll out into anything, right? I look at user-generated content. I look at the magic of YouTube is that initially it was like how we're going to show movie trailers and music videos and stuff like that, and maybe not. How people, but it quickly came out into these things that no one ever could have predicted because it let people do stuff. So like an unboxing video, which we all know what they are now and probably watch them, didn't exist, right? People creating their own cottage industries of being a blogger or whatever. None of that existed prior to this. And I think that Kluest is going to do exactly the same thing because it allows it to, whereas no previous Pokemon Go type implementations, of which there are many. There's a Harry Potter one. There's a lot, but nobody has said, okay, well, we're turning this over to the users and blow us away. I'm so excited
with Niantic games because they're owned by Google, so you wouldn't see any user engagement there. They steal it.
yeah, they will take it. Well, Nathaniel, can we're really fortunate that you are an absolute expert in Pokemon Go, and can you share a little bit about why I say that and what your role is and what kind of insight that gives you into Kluest?
I can talk all day about that. So Pokemon Go is actually a AR real world experience. People are starting to call it real world RPG. And that's really what draws me to Kluest is the real world RPG element of it. I'm generating quests and I'm going out into my area, and I'm the first one in Seattle to be able to get to do this stuff. So I'm really privileged. I've did stuff all over up and down the waterfront already.
At Consensus, you were absolutely killing it, man. Like that was one of the times where I was like, oh my God, I think there's a lot here. And then you were like, oh yeah, I've made like 7 quests.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can place them anywhere. You can be at home and make them at certain areas, and then people can go and experience them. But this is different than Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go is kind of the extension of an IP that a lot of video gamers play. So a lot of video gamers don't even play Pokemon Go. but Kluest is not that. It's its own universe, and it's starting from, hey, we're AR, and we're going to expand into the world with user generated content.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I think Pokemon Go and Harry Potter and Ingress were all kind of designed by Google to just be information gathering about particular points of interest, and and then they had some fluffy Pokemon stuff involved in there too. So
one of the things that you did that you didn't share is you ran a server that maps all the mapping, all the Pokemon mapping areas in Western Washington and the Seattle area, and so and you've been doing that for a long time. You understand deep level of the games, and 4 years. So you were even able to share some of those things with the Kluest guys. I remember early on. So
definitely I can have the bug testing experience for Pokemon Go and what people like and what people hate. I have my own Discord server that has 2,500 people on it that's specific to Seattle area Pokemon Go. And so whenever Pokemon Go puts something out, we hear the noise and the complaints and stuff. And actually, I'm glad that you guys have a Kluest Discord, which you run both in English and in Spanish. So whenever you're releasing those items, we get to see the multilingual release of that item.
You blew us away at Austin, and you keep doing it. And I had done work for Pokemon International, game design, and I think we know games and this type of game, and I think it's a total winner. Why don't you tell us what it's going to bring to Telos, though? Tell us about the Telos Spark Hackathon and how Telos is supporting you and how you're supporting Telos going forward, if you would.
Okay, so let's go back, and we started to think about blockchain technology in general, overall, and to have a way to make the content creators to monetize their content in a very fast, easy, and secure way, but to add, of course, added value to our users with the property of their digital assets, with NFTs, K-lands, and a lot of stuff that we are preparing. But let's say that blockchain it's going to be an Web3 and an amazing and a powerful tool for us. But the cornerstone itself, we want to be the game. So we have a philosophy that is the game goes first. So we want to make the game or the platform and good enough and to engage users enough to make all the play and create to earn and like a vision that will make a big boost from the basis. So we are developing Kluest in some kind of layers. Right now, we are at the main layer, this cornerstone. For example, in the future, we want to add real-time online gaming, so you can play cooperative experiences with your friends and to make teamwork then with different asymmetric playability and all this stuff. And of course,
so you need fast. So you're going to need fast and free, transactions to make that work.
Exactly, to make all the pieces, because and there are a lot of pieces that I have to match there. We needed a fast network, in our values, eco-friendly network. We had a easy to develop network. So we had a list of things we needed, and Telos was, of course, in that list. And we saw that the hackathon was there with not so much time to prepare it. So we decided to to run a lot to make that first proof of concept, that we even made a first approach of NFT clothes and a lot of stuff, the wallet integration. But let's say that it's going to be in the second layer, the blockchain and capabilities, or Web3 capabilities, and we want to do it in a way that we want to break some barriers that we think that are there. We want to be some kind of bridge between Web 2 and Web 3 to make the platform comfortable for non-Web 3 users, so they don't have to set up a wallet, to link the wallet, to know even what a wallet is, and to have all the power of the blockchain. And if they want to make at any point some kind of play to earn and to get their NFTs out of the platform, they will be able to do it very easily. But it's something optional, something not mandatory to enjoy the experience.
So somebody who's heard a lot about NFT art collection and things like that could totally use Kluest as a platform for for going to a art gallery. Could be anywhere in the world, right? Because they can just virtually go there. They wouldn't have to have anything other than basically a Kluest account, and they could go and buy, like go to the gallery or go to the art, to the museum or whatever, and they could buy a artwork that they love and put it in there, and put it in they could go collect NFT art, and then when they're ready, when they feel comfortable with it, they can just they can migrate that to their own web wallets easily. I mean, that sounds
Exactly.
sounds like a great way to go and look at NFTs as art, as opposed to the metaphor that we mostly use now. Could be really cool, actually.
I mean, not just as art, as other stuff, right? You guys are experimenting with clothes and hats and various other stuff, weapons, and so it's not just art. It could be part of your character.
Exactly.
Or part
We
of
are
your
also
quest,
working
even.
on Kluest Workshop. We haven't talked about this, which is let's say like the brother or sister of Kluest, which is another app for Kluesters, which are the content creators of Kluest, so they can create very easily 3D models, textures, animations, and sell them or use them for their content. So they could be not only characters or environments, they could be a piece of art, for example.
Amazing.
So, I mean,
So it could also be like a one of a kind 3D object that somebody makes,
exactly,
and
exactly.
there can only be one, or it could be a shirt, something. It could be almost anything, right?
That's it.
The companion piece of software. Is that also free, or is it freemium to use?
Yeah, it's going to be free, and we're going to charge a little bit if you want to sell it, for example, for I don't know, let's say 30 coins.
Sure.
You have to pay some kind of manufacturing price. So we can lower the prices. I mean, because there's one problem with many blockchain games is that content is not affordable for people. So we want to control that by making, okay, if you want to sell that for, I don't know, let's say $100, then maybe you have to pay $30 to make it available for the public. So it's a way to control the prices. So you're going to get profit for that. You're going to be charged only if the object is sold, but you have to know that. So if you want to set a price which is very high, then you're going to pay a high price for manufacturing that. Also, I think it's very important that we want to democratize not only the creation of adventures or quests or even metaverses, because we're going to allow people to create their own metaverses on Kluest, not only little quests we have right now. Some of them are not so little. Maybe
It's
they can
another
take
layer
some
in the
hours.
future.
It's another layer. But also we want to democratize the creation of 3D content, because we are creating, in our opinion, the most easy to use or the most user friendly tools to 3D modeling using augmented reality. It's like sculpting in real life, and we're working very hard on that. And in the next year, it's going to be available for everyone to 3D modeling, texturize, or even creating animations we don't have any idea about animating. So we're very excited, and it's going to open like a huge gate to creativity. It's going to boost creativity a lot, and also the kind of content people are going to be able to find on the platform, because it's not going to be only the things we create or the things that people can import from other tools, but also the things they create on the platform. And I think it's going to be like a game changer, in my opinion.
That's so exciting. There's so many similarities to what I wanted to create with D Realms, and I just really I'm happy to be involved in any way. You guys are doing what I think is fantastic. Yeah, make it free to make these things. That's brings people into the game, more and more, because not only can they make their own stuff, but even if you're never going to make something, you can play something your friend made, or you can play just something that's really cool, right? You can create metaverses that are purely educational. Like you could create an entire zoology course or whatever, where like there's all kinds, or history, where you're like in each their own metaverse, and you're talking to whoever, you're talking to Napoleon, right? And you're like, and he gives you a question.
You're generating content here, Douglas. You're generating content.
It's endless, right? And so and all that is going to bring more and more people in to Kluest. It's going to be a Roblox, I think, but even better, but like on that scale is what people are going to see it as. And all of that is also happening on Telos, or the majority of that economic activity is happening there. So I think it's a massive win, and I couldn't be happier about what you're doing. So when does it come out?
It's getting closer and closer, and well, we are very very happy of we are improving a lot of the metrics, and Spain is being our testing field. So for example, right now, and here at Spain, if you look for metaverse in the App Store, we appear the first, because the organic ASO, because the user retention, we have improved a lot the user retention. In Android, we appear between the first and the third. It's fluctuating, and that's because the improvement of the engagement of the user. So with the new features, with all the new content, with the creation tools like Kluest Workshop, like I do have introduced, and other creation tools that we are starting to prepare, like Clear with K, that it's a visual language to not only to have a 3D model to give them behavior. Okay, if you want to make a vehicle, if what you want to make something that it's always jumping, or something, a mini game or something like that, you will be able to do it with a visual language that it's called Clear, and it's another layer that we will introduce later. And well, a lot of stuff, a lot of work to do, and we have changed a little bit of funding strategy too, because we wanted to make a stock funding round and plus an ICO, but right now probably we are extending the funding round, and we'll make this an ICO later, probably by the end of the next year at some point. We don't know, at mid of the year, and we can't give any exact date. But we want to boost all the things, to push them further or forward, and because we have a lot of things to make there, and to make the platform something very very big.
Yeah, and also the
just
K-Lens.
keep building, It's like, that's the Telos way. You build, and that, it's sort of the opposite of like Axie Infinity, where you ask everybody for a bunch of stuff and then blow it up, right? You guys are building, you're getting the funding that you need along the way, and you're just building something incredible. So
game first, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. We want to make a very sustainable platform in a long term, and to build a community So because right now the mass majority of crypto games and metaverses and have a big peak and then goes to zero. So we want to make things step by step in a different way to incorporate blockchain technology in a way that it makes sense and it gives value to our users, of course.
Yeah. User generated content breaks that typical life cycle of a game because it's always becoming something new. So
Where can we go to learn more and follow you? Follow
Okay,
Kluest.
we have our website, which is Kluest.com. We have our Discord server, also our YouTube channel, which is Kluest. And we are also on Instagram, Twitter, which is the account is Kluest Up. And we are, on Twitter, Instagram, and Discord. Maybe those are the platforms where we are more active. So if you want to know the latest news, probably you should go there, especially Discord. We have a
Discord,
community
definitely.
which is asking questions. We're trying to answer in both languages. So it depends where the question came from. And in the next days, we're going to release a new version in Spain. So Nathaniel will send that version to you. We'll be working on that, and also Douglas, yeah, of course. So
Awesome.
we'll be working a lot on that and improving a lot of things about creation, about playing to be more reliable. Because sometimes if you are in a place with bad connection, sometimes things don't work as good as they should. So we have improved that a lot. And also we have included the skeleton, which is a new enemy. So hopefully it will be there for Halloween, and people who have access to the beta will be able to defeat skeletons and use them in their creations.
Super cool.
So many new things
when
coming.
Twitch. When are you guys going to have your Twitch channel so we can watch people live play Kluest?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or
We have to
even
think
live
about.
create. I mean, imagine you're following as somebody like actually builds a quest or builds tools and stuff like that, and has people like going, no man, put it to the left, make it purple.
Right. And their watchers are watching them play and playing their quest afterwards. Interesting.
Yeah, it sounds amazing.
Tutorials. And even tutorials. There are people
Tutorials.
that have asked us for tutorials, for video content, for tweet, for Telegram too. We have to say that we don't have any Telegram for the moment, but probably will have one in the future. I say this because there are some Crest official Telegram accounts there that are not official. We don't have Telegram right now. We don't have any token right now, and we are an update for the pre-sale. So any information about a Kluest token or a pre-sale is a scam. So I wanted to tell this because in the official channels we'll introduce all the information when the moment can. But for the moment, there is no Telegram and no token.
I think there's so anybody suggesting that there's a Kluest token sale coming or airdrop or anything, that is not true. It's a lie. It's a scam. It's a scourge. It's a scourge that all these scammers come on every single project. It's on the one hand, hey, at least you know that somebody's heard of you, even if it's just a bunch of scammers. You're on the right track.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
We'll be sure to include all the links that you do have down below, and let's send people here. They can learn more about it. They can click the buttons, all that stuff. Thank you guys so much for being here and for being part of Telos, and just a super important part in the future, I think. I can't wait to play. I can't wait to play the new one.
It's so fun. It's so fun. I play it all the time.
Thank you so much, and it's very glad to be here, to be part of the Telos community, and we hope to have news of the token of the pre-sale very very soon too.
Yeah, and
All
also the K-Lands. Yeah, we will let you know very, very soon. Thank you for the invitation.
Thanks, guys.
All right. And now it's the 60 seconds you've all been waiting for. Nathaniel's going to speak to us about the markets. Remember, not financial advice. Go.
Oh, this is terrible, not financial advice. So, speaking of games, Axie Infinity is at minus 34 for the month, down to $8. Axie Infinity's return on investment has just been published, and it's minus 92% in 2023. So that means if you bought an Axie for $100, it's now worth $8. Speaking as somebody who owns a few, it hurts. Axie Infinity is an NFT-based video game. It's developed by Vietnamese studio Sky Mavis, known for its in-game economy, which uses Ethereum-based cryptocurrencies. Axie has been around since 2018. They recently just released a new thing called Mech Infinity, which is a clone of Brawl Stars, a really popular mobile game if you happen to play that one as well. I'm out of time.
Thanks, Nathaniel, for Moss's Market Minute. Boy, we were kind of talking, with all our talk about Kluest and what an awesome game that is, and how it keeps building and building by bringing in more and more user generated content and like expanding outside itself. We did kind of touch on Axie Infinity, right? And it's just like it's the opposite paradigm, which is really sad for anybody who aped in. So
yeah, it was like. Buy the NFT first. The NFT may or may not have stats. It did eventually have stats, and all of mine were terrible. So getting a good one was really hard, and trading up for it cost multiple Ethereum at the time. So I play as a free-to-play player, and I'll never get anything out of it myself.
So here's Doug's alpha drop. Don't ape into stuff that you don't understand just because everyone else is aping in, because you could very well be buying the top. Very well.
Don't pre-order games. Same philosophy.
Yeah, it's true too. I mean, there's no. What's the advantage of pre-ordering of a game? Really, you're gonna get it like an hour earlier.
Right.
and that can be in a very important hour, right? Let everybody else who orders it early tell you whether there's anything good about it or not. So.
Up next, we're speaking about block stuff. Yep, crypto BS. What BS do we have on the agenda for today?
There's always so much. So let's talk about the political growth and maturity around blockchain and Web3, because that seems to be going in an interesting direction. Sam Bankman-Fried of FTX came out with his ideas about how crypto would be regulated in the U.S. and got a lot of response from that. Nathaniel, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Basically, that they are trying to set their own regulation so that the SEC doesn't come in and regulate them without any representation. So they've set out a draft of sets of standards that we can put out as an industry, and hopefully that will cause us to have positive regulation and not negative punishment regulation.
Yeah. So as one of the biggest exchanges, obviously they have a role to play in that. There's no question that as an exchange that's selling things, that's doing some onboarding and offboarding of fiat to and from fiat, that they will absolutely be regulated. There's absolute authority there to be regulated. But some of the things that people are responding to are they're not as excited about. They see it as him pushing out his own take on this, which is what anybody is doing when they're suggesting something. He did put the word out. He said, "Hey, I'm excited to read other people's interpretations as well," and he got some interesting ones. I don't know how I got them so fast.
Personally, I really like that they're trying to define what is an asset versus what is a security on the blockchain. Mm-hmm. Making way saying, yes, there are securities on the blockchain, but most things are assets like NFTs, that don't have a continual value, or that the owners didn't create to be a stock.
I am taking up the challenge in all my free time and writing up my take, which is rather different than what else is out there. And in short, I think you cannot regulate or legislate uh, these tokens as if they were actual tokens or if they were actual currency. They are a unique thing. They have no physical form. They have no jurisdiction, right? And no one defining currency or money or any of these things in 1801 or any of those times could have envisioned something where this was a non-tangible writing of information, right? Which is actually all it is. They couldn't anticipate that is the definition of a token or security or money or anything like that. And so it is not. It's its own thing. Even though we say it's a token, we do that as a sort of shorthand for ourselves to help us understand it. It doesn't actually make it a token. And there's no specific authority to, for the US anyway, to regulate these things. So I say render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, right? And when these things touch U.S. dollars, if they're stable coins, of course, if they're exchanges, then it is absolutely for the U.S. to regulate. If they are just crypto coin to crypto coin, then they're really aren't necessarily happening in the U.S. They're not tangible items the way that all other forms of commerce are defined. And it would be much better to take an approach like what Portugal does when they say, well, once these get regulated or taxed or whatever, as they come in contact with the physical world, but as long as they stay within the crypto space, they are their own thing, and regulation only has to happen when they cross worlds.
Well, I didn't read Sam Friedman's recommendations, but I do know that I saw BitBoy having a meltdown on Twitter. So that, to me, that's a plus already for Sam in my book. I think that's great, and I hope I hope he continues
Yeah.
to rile people up, so to speak.
Yeah. I think that's a good take. But on the other side of this, so Leah, you've actually been a leader for us in Telos in getting us involved with Lobby 3, Humanity Forward. You blazed the trail there, built the relationship, and we recently had people go out to Washington D.C. to meet with Andrew Yang. We had Justin and GV and Erica from the Telos Foundation, our own wonderful Erica Elder here at GoodBlock, and that's really been I think that's just as important, right? So Sam Bankman-Fried is trying to preemptively, say what he thinks regulations can be. That's one way to do it. He's doing it in public, and he's probably doing it behind the scenes as well. Telos is really engaged in that, right? As are many other parties. Is that a big deal for you now that we've launched Forward? And I know you weren't able to go to this one because you were sick, but are you pretty jazzed about this?
I am. First of all, I want to say thank you to the Telos community for voting using our consensus network for distributing funds, which is called Telos Works. It is a program in which anyone could submit any kind of proposal, really, that they think deserves funding, and the community can vote on whether they want to give that funding or not. And in this case, the Telos community voted that, yes, we wanted to put funds towards Lobby 3's efforts. Lobby 3 is a lobbying organization that works with Congress members and governors in the United States to help come up with, really to help educate them about what Web3 and blockchain is, and then help them come up with potential laws or regulations that will be beneficial for our industry. The idea is to make them collaborators, not adversaries, because right now they really don't have enough education to even know, is this good? Is this bad? And the answer is some things
Right.
are good and some things are bad, just like every other industry in
Or they
the
have
world.
trade-offs, right? They may not
Right.
good for who, bad for who, right? These
Hmm.
you are setting up incentives for certain kinds of behavior, and prohibitions for certain kinds of things. And are those going to achieve the result you want, rather than just
Exactly.
having a good, bad, label on something?
Exactly. And I'm glad you said that, Douglas, because one of the pieces of pushback we got in our community from people that were skeptical was, aren't big companies already doing this, like Coinbase? Aren't big companies already doing it, like FTX? Like, why do we have to spend our money to do this when there's already people lobbying? And it goes back to what you said, Douglas. Those people are lobbying for themselves.
Themselves,
So they might.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They don't care about what, they don't, talk
Yeah.
Yeah,
about
They
pay to
want the
play.
renewable income.
US government is pay to play, right? And
True.
exactly.
and as much as people in the crypto world are talking about this block stuff, and I consider it much more stuff than some other word that starts with S, um, this they're talking about what SBF has put out there. But do you think that any any member of Congress or chief staffer for any of them, would have read what he said just because it's like, hey, it's on Twitter? Like, no, I would posit that no one is reading that. No one's having it explained to them. It's just out there, unless they are also involved in lobbying efforts where they're taking part and getting it there. Because you can say whatever you want, but it doesn't cross a legislator's threshold without somebody carrying it, and you got to pay that person to carry it across. So
Mhm.
Exactly. So it's important. I think it's really cool that a homegrown chain like Telos is now able to meet with these legislators, able to meet with these governors, able to meet with people that really are going to impact our industry, whether we like it or not. I mean,
yeah,
the truth's the
Yeah.
truth. And, I'd rather be in the room than out of it. And then, you know,
yeah. Well, and
uh,
hey, a very charismatic presidential candidate who may have his best shot yet, and I think it's cool. I mean, you and I have both had conversations with him now. He's ingested some of our ideas and set them back to us, and things like that. I'm told by Erica that they got some really great FaceTime with Andrew Yang, and he actually totally loved the story that we funded this through our own democratic process. That's a total win.
Yeah, Andrew Yang supports this. He's very clear that he doesn't want to make it necessarily about him. He's just an advocate for getting, a US innovation staying ahead of the curve, and he thinks crypto is important. So this coalition of people didn't just pop up. It's not one of those things on Twitter. Some newly rich crypto bro was like, "I'm gonna start a lobby and we're gonna change things." Like, it is lobbyists who've gotten things like the child tax credit passed, lobbyists who have advocated for, universal basic income, which is interesting to me because they have gotten a few programs in the United States approved for that as just a test,
Well, the
including
stimmy techs were de facto
they
UBI
were.
for
And
sure.
Yang threw his support, as we know, behind that. There's
I do
also
too.
little, like, people right now in certain cities are getting regular checks because of their work, just to see what the results are of that. One close to my hometown, so that's kind of how I got interested in Yang. But yeah, and so I'm super excited. Erica, Justin, JV from the TF, like you said, were there. They had so much fun. They said the environment was welcoming and wonderful, and a lot of stuff, was discussed, and we'll be continuing to go there. So, yeah, that's an update on that, and I hope, I have no doubt this is going to pay off for not only the Telos community, but the blockchain community at large, which is what this is all about.
I think it's going to be it's going to be a big win down the road for us to be engaged there. So thank you, Leah, for setting that up. All right, so another piece of BS of the week that's a bit fun. Maren Altman, who is a crypto astrologer, has been called out for selling her opinion on Celsius Network shortly before they went belly up. We met Maren at Davos, had a great time talking with her and her team, and yes, of course, Bitcoin needs an astrologer. Why wouldn't it? But you would think that maybe she would have seen this coming. So I do not believe that, that Celsius gave her all the inside scoop on what was what their plans were. It just doesn't track with me. They most likely hoodwinked her, as they did everyone else. But it does make me question how good an astrologer she is. So why wasn't the moon rising somewhere or something happening around Uranus that really needed to suggest that maybe she didn't get into business with Celsius? That's my concern.
The stars, the planets failed her. They did not align to bring her success. And we'll see if she continues on or does some kind of branding pivot. I doubt she will. But Douglas, question. When you met her in person, was she as teeny tiny as she appears on her TikTok videos?
Oh, yeah. She is assembled from pencils and toothpicks. Yeah.
Yeah, she almost looks fairy-like and possibly small.
She's a very small person. She's lovely. She's very nice. Let's remember that the internet builds people up to tear them down, and there's no reasonable person would think that somebody they're paying $30,000 to talk about their service
Right.
would ever know that they're just about to rug. That's crazy. She probably should have disclosed it. She really should have disclosed it. And she should have been a better astrologer. But
Absolutely.
like, I don't think she should be canceled. I think that, she should have whatever existence she had before will hopefully continue for her.
Yeah, at the end of the day, she's passionate about this stuff like we are, and no one can predict the future. No one's proven to be able to in a verifiable way that can be recreated. So take this all with fun, guys. Again, the don't ape in lesson before. I just, for full disclosure, I personally ran victim to an astrologer years ago now. I don't know if you remember, Douglas. I, at one point, paid to have an astrologer evaluate Telos. And the evaluation came back as a stay away scam, which I know is not true because I work in it. And 3 months later, we had one of our biggest run-ups in price, and her favorite little coin, which happens to be ADA, hasn't been faring so well. So again, you just have to kind of open your eyes and be like, where does this person's interests align? Even if they are great astrologers, they might that doesn't mean they're benevolent people necessarily, or bad people like you're saying, but people are always going to do what they want to do for their own gain, and everyone, has bias, including me. But it was I went back into that group and I was like, I don't know if you guys have seen Telos recently, but looks like it's doing pretty well.
Well, where people's financial interests align is usually a much better predictor of future events than where their stars align.
Right.
I'll stick to that every time.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode. If you want to learn more about the Web3 world, check us out wherever you listen to your podcasts. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification icon. And we'll see you guys soon.